There you are.
Hi, how
How
are
are you?
you?
Good, good. How are you today?
Good. Awesome, awesome.
How was your weekend?
It was good. Believe it or not, I was reflecting on the miscommunication and everything that happened since Friday, right? And then I got the cancellation and all that. And I was reflecting on that. Today is the 12th year anniversary of my mom's passing.
Wow.
So it's like this was meant to be
Very timely.
on Monday, not on Friday. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, wow. 12 years. That's
12
just
years.
such a long time. Wow.
Yeah, but it seems like it was yesterday. And I was like, okay, this is like perfect timing. I don't know what happened when I got the cancellation. I was so pissed. I was like, "What's going on?" That's why my comment was edited because I was like, "Is
Yes.
this some kind of joke?" And then I'm like,
Ah,
"Okay, calm down, calm down. You don't know what happened,
I
right?"
am so sorry. Yeah, I think I know what ended up. We're good to go. So I am so sorry for like any
No,
confusion. And if it made you mad,
don't
I'm
worry about
sorry.
it. I'm laughing. I'm laughing now, and I wasn't feeling well on Saturday, and I was like, blah blah blah, and then I was
Oh,
like, "Okay, you need to calm down," like so.
well, it
So
makes it makes sense. It makes sense why it happened, but I'm glad they were able to meet, and I'm glad you didn't just like cancel completely and like, you know what, screw it, I don't even want to meet with you anymore.
yeah, no. I'm all for communication. Like, if you come with a lame excuse, like, yes, whatever, like, then maybe I will cancel. But I'm all
Yes,
for communication. So
I
I
love
wanted
it.
to know.
I love it. Okay, perfect. No, I think we're good. I think we're good. Yeah. How was your weekend though? Was it good?
It was good. It was good. Saturday was challenging, but yesterday was a good day. Today is a good day. So I'm dealing with some health issues that come and go. So I don't know what triggers it. And I was like, and as I said, like Saturday was like so out of it. And then yesterday was a better day, and today is a better day. So I'm just rolling
Yeah,
with
you're
the
just vibing
present
with it.
moment.
Yeah. Okay. No,
Yeah.
that's good. I'm glad. Well, at least you had a good weekend.
Yeah. What about you?
Um, let's see. It was. I feel it was. Everyone always asks me like, "How was your weekend?" I'm like, I think it was good. Like, I don't think anything bad happened. I mean, I have we have a 4 year old and we have a 7 month old, and so I'm like, you know, it's just we're just busy parents. And
Oh,
uh, thank you,
congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, I think we went. What did we do? We went to the park with some friends on Saturday. That was always nice. And then yesterday, we just did like our usual. You know, we did like we did like all of our usual stuff on the weekend, which is really nice. And then back to work today. So I'll get us going here. All right, today I'm joined by Zulma Williams, who has lived through more loss and hardship than most of us can even imagine. She's lost her mom when she was 48 and her dad just 7 years later in the middle of the COVID pandemic. That meant saying goodbye under certain restrictions without the closure that so many of us really hope for. Her story is about grief at its rawest and what it means to lose both parents as an adult and how that kind of loss changes the way you look and see life. But it was also about resilience. Zulma has survived cancer, abusive relationships, and depression. She's even survived suicidal thoughts. And through all of it, she refuses to see herself as a victim. She's committed to honoring her parents and helping others discover their own inner strength in the face of grief. Today, we're going to talk about the heartbreak of losing her mom and her dad, what grief looked like during a pandemic, how she honors the people she's lost, and why her message is one of hope and survival. So, Zulma, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Such a wonderful introduction. I don't have to live up to that, but thank you. It's such an honor.
Thank you. Yeah. You know, thanks again for joining today. To get us started, who are you today? Who is Zulma Williams in your own words? And what led you to want to share your story here?
Sure. So I am Zulma Williams. I'm the swearing therapist. Um I'm a warrior, and I like to inspire others to discover their own internal warrior. I think that we all go through challenges in the secret is not about not falling, but it's about not remaining on the ground. So if you fall 7 times, you get up 8, right? Like that's where our resilience comes in. As you mentioned, I survived cancer. I went to school later in life. I started my Bachelor of Social Work at 42. I graduated at 46. I was on track to do my master's, and 6 weeks after graduation, I discovered I had breast cancer. So life is what happens when we have other plans, right? So I put my higher education on hold to take care of my health. I moved back. Originally from Argentina. I moved to this country when I was 31. But upon the diagnosis, I moved back to Argentina. I was there for about 3 years. And when I look back, I realized that it was all meant to be, and I will get into why in a second. But after 3 years of being there, I wanted to celebrate my 50th birthday from Nevada. I wanted to celebrate my 50th birthday in Las Vegas.
Nice.
I asked God for a sign, and out of nowhere, I got an email from my university saying, "Hey, we have the Master of Social Work program back. Do you want to enroll?" So I asked for a sign, and I got a banner, right? That was the right decision. So I moved back at 50. I started my master's. I graduated a year later. And I've been fulfilling my passion of helping others since, right? Like, so I think, when you follow your heart, there are no bad decisions. And
Mm,
that doesn't mean that everything is rainbow and butterflies, but once you are convinced of this is the right thing for you, that's when everything starts to unfold in front of you. So uh when I went back to Argentina, so I was 46 when I got diagnosed with cancer, and my mom got to see me that I was doing well, right? Because like I don't have children. You mentioned you are a father, so it's like as a parent, I'm presuming you worry about your children no matter how old they are,
mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
she got to see me that I was doing well, right? It wasn't just like, oh yeah, I'm okay, and I hang up the phone and I'm dying. She got to see me that I was doing well. And after a year and a half of me moving back to Argentina, my mom passed away unexpectedly. She died of a heart attack. And I think that seeing me that I was doing well helped her transition in peace. So when I look back, it was meant for me to be there. Not
sure.
for the reason that I originally went there for,
Right. Right. Yeah.
but to spend time with my mom before she transitioned. And today is the 12th-year anniversary of her passing, which is so significant that I want to share with the audience that we were planning for another day, and it didn't work out, and it worked out for
Mm,
today. And I'm like,
yeah.
how significant that I am sharing my story with grief and the loss of my parents on her anniversary.
Yeah.
She will be
God's
so
timing.
proud.
God's timing,
Yes,
not ours, right?
absolutely.
Sent.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing.
Of course.
Wow. I love what you said about, not every day is rainbow and butterflies. One way that I like to think about it is, not every day is going to be 75 and sunny, right? Like it's just, we can't always have you just can't always have a 75 and sunny day, you know? Some days are going to be, cloudy and rainy. And then some days we will have those 75 and sunny days, but we can't always expect them to just be rainbows and butterflies every single day, right? I feel like that's not really that's not like a real expectation of the human experience, right?
Right. In keeping it real, right? Like it's like it's not a realistic expectation, but
100% not.
we
Yeah.
need once we learn that our resilience comes from the inside, then no matter what, you're going to be able to handle it. Then
Mhm.
it doesn't matter what happens on the outside
Sure.
because
Yeah.
you know you're going to be able to handle it.
100%. Yeah. No, I love the way that you put that. And then, part of your story, Zulma, is losing both of your parents later in your life. And I think that's really where I'd like to spend most of our time today talking about. You talked about how you had lost your mom when you were 48. What would you say was like your relationship with her growing up? And then what was that relationship look like into adulthood?
So growing up, my dad left us when I was 8. So it was mostly her and I. I will see my dad on the weekends, but I'm the child of parents who were separated, and my siblings are 10 years. My brother is 10 years older than me, and my sister is 7 years older than me. So when my dad left, they were teenagers, and it was a huge gap.
Mhm.
So it was just her and I. So she got a hold of me like, I was a lifeline for her, unfortunately. And then she had bad experiences with therapists, so she didn't go to therapy. And she was dealing with depression her entire life.
Mhm.
So, but it was never officially diagnosed because she refused to, like, therapy was for people who were crazy, and she was
Mm.
not crazy. So,
Sure. Yeah.
so growing up, I had like this internal burden, if you would, that it was my job to make my mom happy,
Mm.
right? Which I discovered later in therapy that that's not my job. But growing up, I didn't know better. And then at 31, when I decided to moved to America, she gave me her blessing. My dad was not happy that I was leaving, but she gave me her blessing, and she said, if it doesn't work out, you always have your bed and your food here, right? You always have your home here,
Sure.
which looking back is such a sacrifice because you are saying goodbye to your baby, right? Like, I was, I was like, at the time that it was happening, I didn't realize how huge that was. But, after being for so long here in America, and like I will call her and say, "Do you miss me?" Right? Like teasing her, and she will be like, "No, I don't miss you because I know that you are doing well." Right? Like,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
had like that those type of conversations.
Sure.
But when I went back as an adult, and with a cancer diagnosis, we came to the cancer diagnosis came to like rearrange my priorities, where I put myself first because I was at the bottom of the list. And I think that she admired that in me because she couldn't put herself first. Her
Mm.
life were her children. And it comes from the cultural part, the cultural piece, the fact that she never had another partner after my dad left. My dad remarried when he was 73. So it's like, like he continued his life. My
Mhm.
mom didn't, right? Like, so seeing me that I'm so independent, and I started school and I graduated with my bachelor's at 46. It's like, it's kind of like, "Oh, who are you?" Right? Like, I wish I could
Mhm.
be like you. Um
You were saying that your
and
mom felt that she was more like, "Who are you?" Like, almost like, "Who are you?"
yes,
I don't
like,
even know who you are anymore.
because it's like she didn't know she had those options for herself.
That's so crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's kind of sad too, right? Like, she
It is very sad
so
because
sad.
I'm I'm leading by example, right? I'm not
Yeah.
telling her, "Oh, you do have these options." I
Sure.
took those options, even if I
Right.
didn't have
Right.
them.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I took them and I made them mine,
Yeah.
right? Like, so I will go to the hospital. I didn't live with her when I went back, but I will go to the hospital, have my treatment, and then jump on the bus and showed up at her house. I'm like, okay, let's have coffee or whatever, right? Like, so it was like those visits that she values so much
Mhm.
because it was like the time that we were sharing, she didn't have it for like more than 15 years that I've
Mm.
been here. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when she transitioned, so she was always saying her home was very important to her, which comes from the cultural part. She never worked outside the home. So like her home was her safe place, although she wasn't happy there, but it was hers. It was what she could call mine. So it was very important for her to transition in her home. And I was so happy that she was able to transition in her bed, in
Mm.
her home, and she didn't suffer so
Mm.
much
Yeah.
during the transition part. She suffered all her life, but not during the transition part. So there was this big celebration for my niece's daughter. She was turning 1, and my mom didn't go to the celebration. And my entire family went to visit her, but I didn't, because my partner and I were taking my dad and his wife to their home. So, and then that was the last time that my mom was alive,
Mm.
right? So later, like couple of hours later, I get the call that my mom wasn't well. My sister had called, and my partner answered the phone, and my sister was crying. But my sister, I hope God is sleeping right now. I was like, oh, she's a drama queen, right? Like, so I didn't take it like something bad happened, because she
Yeah, you
was
didn't take
always
it
crying about
serious.
everything. I
Sure.
didn't take it
Yeah.
serious. So, and my sister had told my partner that my mom had passed, but he didn't tell me. He
Mm.
waited for my brother to call and tell
Mm.
me. And I was like, this is like something is not adding up, right? Because it's like he was like, We need to go to your mom's house right now." And but make like an overnight bag. And I'm like,
Mm.
what? Like, no, like if she's going to the hospital, I'm not going to spend the night, right? Like, so then finally my brother got a hold of me, and he told me. And so we went to my mom's house, and everybody was already there, and everybody was crying, like my siblings and my nieces and my nephew. They were all adults, but like everybody was crying. And I walked in, and I'm like, no, don't cry. Grandma is resting,
'Cause you
right?
didn't know yet. You
And
didn't,
everybody
right?
is
You still
looking. No, everybody's looking at me like, you don't have a heart,
wow.
right?
Wow.
What I found out later, and talking with my therapist, she make a very distinct uh, uh statement that I would love to share with everybody. But later on, I asked my family, did you think that I was heartless because I said, oh, don't cry, grandma is resting? And they were like, no, we didn't. But what happened was that my mom will tell me, but she wouldn't tell anybody else, just me. But I didn't know that at the time. Why did I wake up today? Why didn't Jesus take me in my sleep? So I knew she was tired.
Yeah.
So I come in, and I'm thinking that everybody knew.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I was the only one she was sharing that with.
Wow.
So I was like, because then talking with my siblings and my adult nephew and nieces, I was like, did grandma ever tell you? Yeah, they were like, no. I was like, oh, she was only sharing that with
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So my therapist says something, because so my siblings are older than me, but I was the one who took it the most mature way, if you would, right? And, so I was 48, so my sister was 56, and my brother was 58. And my brother was kind of okay, but it's like kind of, again, like the culture, right? You are the man, you are the firstborn, so you had to be strong. And my sister was devastated. I was like, "W- I mean, it's a privilege to have had your mother for
Mm,
56 years. Like,
yeah,
it's like, so
yeah,
I couldn't understand. And I was sharing that with with my therapist. And she said, although your one person died, it was three moms who died: your brother's mom, your sister mom, and
mm,
your mom,
wow,
and your nephew's grandma, and then your niece's grandma, and then your other niece's grandma, because she wasn't the same to each of us. We
right,
all had a different relationship with her.
yeah.
That blew, I was like,
I mean,
because I was
that's
like,
blowing my mind right now to think about. That's blowing my
right,
mind, right? Yeah.
right. Because it's like, it's so true.
Mm,
One person passes, but it represents a different
sure.
relationship
Mhm.
to everybody
Well, because everybody experienced a relationship with your mom in a different way.
in a different way.
Because
Right,
like my parents, when my parents passed away, my two sisters, they're older than me. I'm thinking about this now of like I'm like, oh, taking this of like this is me, this is my life. My mom died, my dad died. Now that you said that, I'm thinking, well, wait a second. My sisters, their mom and dad also died, and they had a
right.
different type of relationship with those parents than I had with the parents. Right? We all had a different. We all experienced something different. Yeah, I mean, it's how remarkable that is to think about.
Yes. And, like, you are not the same parent. Like, when you have children, unless you have triplets, right? If you have three children, you're not the same parent. Because when
I
you
can
had
attest
your
to that.
first kid,
Yes.
right? Like, right.
Yes.
When you have your first child, your 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 energy and your attention is only in that child, but when you have your second child, you had to divide that attention. You are older, you are maybe in a different financial position, learn a lot out of the first child, right? Like, you don't sleep with a child number five, like the child is eating dirt and you don't care, right? Because, like, with the first one, you're like, oh my god,
Yes.
like, you don't want to sleep.
Yeah.
With the fifth one, is like, I already done these five times. Like, he's
Uh,
gonna be fine, right?
yeah.
Like, so it's like, it
Mm,
is a different relationship, no matter what. Even if you were raised in the same household, intact household, like if your parents didn't divorce, it's not the same parent when the first one is you had the firstborn versus when you have child number three, right? Like, so, and my mom had lost a child. So my brother is 10 years older than me. Then there was another baby who was born, I think like a year later after my brother. So they were very close in age, but that baby passed away when he was 9 months old, which I, of course, never met.
right.
My mom, so when I learned about my brother, I will call my mom when on my brother's birthday and on my brother's passing
Mm,
and say, I know this is a hard time, right? And I was the only one out of my siblings who did that.
really.
So I had a different relationship with my mommy for nothing else for that, because I am who kept her son alive in the memory, although I only seen one picture of that baby, right? And then so to I was so grateful that I got to have my mom for 48 years, and now my brother is having his mom too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's why it was so hard for me to understand why my sister is so devastated. And I'm like, why don't we honor the time that we shared together? Like,
Sure.
she's not suffering anymore, right? Like, and so it's like sometimes we are kind of like subconsciously selfish into like, I want you to stay. And if you're suffering the way that my mom was suffering, which again, like, apparently I was the only one who knew the depth of that suffering, right? Like, so it's like, you I wanted her to be resting. And in so I took it as and she transitioned in her own bed, in her own home, how
Right.
she wanted, right? So uh after so when because she died in her home, then the coroner has to get involved, because it's like they had to certify that it was a natural death and all those things that you don't go through when you are in the hospital, right? Like, so when the coroner came to the house to pick up the body, I refused to see. Oh, well, when I went into the home, she was in her bed, and I refused to go see her. And everybody was like, it looks like she's sleeping. I said, I don't care how she looks like. I want to remember her having coffee and talking about the last gossip on TV, right? Like, so if I see her, I'm afraid that's going to be taken away from me.
Mhm.
So I let everybody do whatever they wanted to do, but I refused. So when they came to pick up the body, I went into the other side of the house. So I didn't see her
Mm.
being picked up.
Sure.
And to this day, I remember having a conversation with my mom and making a joke and her laughing and we are having coffee, right?
Good
Because
they're good memories.
the good memories, because I refuse to to taint that, because this is not her.
Mhm.
Whomever was laying in that bed is not my mom
Right.
anymore, right? My
Mhm.
mom is like right here. That's where my mom is, not in that bed.
Mm.
So when I'm going through a particular time, hard time or whatever, just close my eyes and I put my hands on my heart. And I'm like, okay, mom, like I'm I'm listening, right?
Mm.
Like,
Love
so,
it.
and then I look for the answer, right? Because like if you're listening, but you're not paying attention to the answer, you're not gonna get the answer, right? Like, so I'm like, okay, you know better than me. You are with God. Like, talk to God. Just tell him like I'm not Rambo. Like, sometimes you go through certain things in life and you're like, I know you don't give me anything that I cannot handle, but you trust me too
Yeah.
much,
Yeah, you're trusting me with
right?
too
Like,
much
so,
here right now. Yes, I can't
right.
handle it.
So it's like,
Yes.
like, so,
Yeah.
and, I always tell people, y- y- the people who you love is never out of your heart. So when you want to be close to them, you just put your hands in your heart and you can feel them there. You know, as a therapist, I explain to people grief, in a nutshell, grief is love that has nowhere to go.
Wow. That's really good.
If if you didn't love that person, you wouldn't be grieving.
Sure. Yeah.
But now
Wow.
you have all this love and you don't know where to put it. That's why you're so sad. But the message in that is that how fortunate are you that you were able to love somebody that did?
Mm. And then you get to
Because
carry that love as well.
exactly, because okay, a lot, like, we all have parents, like, and we love our parents, and that's not true. There are a lot of people that I know who had an strained relationship, or they are not talking or with their parents or whatever, and now they are gone, and there is no going back to repair the relationship. So the fact that you have so much love for your parents is a blessing. What are we sad about?
Yeah.
Especially if they stop suffering, right? It's like, okay, I embrace the 48 years that I have my mom versus the 12 years that I didn't.
Sure.
I focus on the 48 years that I had her
Yeah.
and how proud of me she was. My daughter, she went to the university in the States, right? My daughter, she moved to the States. My daughter speaks English, right? If she only heard me talking in English, that I'm the sweating therapist, right? Right? But like, she was so proud of each accomplishment.
Mm.
And it's like, wow, she was able to enjoy through distance all my accomplishments.
Yeah.
Like, and my siblings will tell me, like, you were always a favorite, but since you moved, like, now she's like, meh, 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 meh," and I'm like, okay, get in line. Like,
Yeah, right.
I don't care, like,
I didn't know we
I'm
were
the
competing
baby.
for mom's love. Yeah, I didn't know we were
Right.
competing about it.
I'm the baby, so I don't care. I got away with a lot of stuff that my
Wow.
siblings didn't get away with,
Sure, sure, yeah. Wow.
which you should know because you're the baby too, right? It's just
Yes.
like, so, and, but like being able to experience that type of love. So instead of focusing on the loss, focusing on the blessing
Mm,
of
I like that.
having, like, there are kids whose parents die when they are babies. So they didn't get to enjoy their parent for 48 years, right? Like, and you get stories about how great your mom was, but you didn't get to experience that. So how long did you have your parent with you? That is a blessing. So to focus on the good moments, and that's why. So there is no a right way of grieving, and there is no a right way of dealing with somebody passing. But although my entire family was in the bedroom, like honoring my mom, I honor her from another side of the house. And it worked for me and that worked for them. We are not competing about who is honoring better, right? So I invite everybody listening to find your own way of honor the person who passed, because there is no right or wrong way of doing this. So it's like, okay, you want to see, like, there are people who wants to see the loved ones dead so they can find closure. I didn't need that because there was no closure for me because my mom continued to be alive in my heart. And
What
now it's better because she's not suffering.
right. What would, like, what did grief look like for you? What did grief look like for you then? Since so, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is you're talking about how instead of seeing your mom, after she had passed, you were able to reflect and focus on the memories that you had with her instead, and that's kind of like what keeps the memory alive of her. But after she had passed, what did grief look like for you in those early days? Was it still just what you say now? Was it still, I'm just going to focus on the good memories? Is that how it looked in the early days, or did it look different, and then you started to kind of like transition into this new mentality of grief?
Right. I was feeling very guilty because I wasn't as sad as society expected me to be, but because, so I was like, wait a minute, do I have a heart? Like, did I love my mom? And I'm blessed my therapist because it was so paramount at that time to to remind me that there is no right or wrong way of grieving, because I knew how bad my mom was suffering. So I found a lot of comfort in knowing that she was not suffering anymore. And
Sure,
it was so hard to put it into words. But don't you miss her? No, because she's not suffering. Like, I don't know how to explain this, how to
sure.
put this into words, but because I I didn't want to be selfish. Like, no, I want you to stay here when you are suffering that much.
Mm,
Mental health is so unique. As if you had diabetes, nobody will come to you with a dozen donuts and say, "Oh, you're gonna be okay." But when you have depression, they're like, "Oh, just a snap out of it. You're gonna be okay,"
mm,
because your depression makes me uncomfortable because I don't know how to help you,
mm.
right? So if
Yeah,
you have diabetes, I'm not gonna bring a dozen donuts
sure,
to tempt you.
sure.
I will hide the donuts, right? With depression, it's like, oh, come on, right? So, and I wasn't a therapist yet. I haven't done my master's and my training. I only had the Bachelor of Social Work, but I was so connected with her suffering that I'm like, I cannot be selfish and wanted her to stay longer. She was 79. She
Mm,
had lived her life,
right.
very a lot of suffering in her life. And I'm like, she's resting right now. She is with her son that she couldn't enjoy for uh more than 50 years. So I'm looking at the bigger picture, and I don't know if it was a way of dealing with denial of the situation or it was a healthy way. I don't know because it was my experience.
Right.
I cannot tell you like, oh,
Right.
this is denial or this is healthy or whatever. But I was like, I was asking my therapist, did I love my mom?
Mm,
Because I'm not devastated. I'm relieved. And she will be like reminding me like, you need to remember like you were the only one that she told these things to. So like other people didn't know,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
about her suffering. So it will be hard for other people to understand, but you need to make peace with that. It's not about other people.
We're
I
so
needed to make peace that I love my mom.
Well, we're so concerned about other people, right? Like that and maybe you know this, maybe you can speak on this as a therapist, right? People coming in and they're feeling like you, like they're feeling guilty. Did I even love so and so? Why? Like I feel so bad, but also I'm so worried about them and I'm worried about their feelings and then you're like, but what about me? Like I also experienced this. I experienced this death of my parent or anybody, right? And but
Yes.
we get so hyper focused on other people and what they're thinking about that we tend to forget how we're feeling and
Yes.
the memories that we want to keep. Because, you know, and I love how you said it too, because the way that you were saying that everybody experienced the death differently because it was your brother's mom and it was your sister's mom. And I'm thinking in my case, right, my dad had passed away when I was 15 and he was our only parent at the time. My parents were divorced. There's a whole long story to it, but he was our only parent. He took care of us, and to me, he was my best friend at 15. I'm also 15 years old. It's a lot different than when you're 48. It's much different, but your mom and you had a very close relationship. So I don't want to knock on that. But what I'm trying to get to is that I experienced something much different than my sisters who were, 5 and 6 years older than me. They were already 18, 19 years old. They were already out of the house experiencing something their own.
Yes.
And this is something that I'm learning now that I'm doing this project and this show and meeting all these people and then talking to you. I'm like, man, for like 20 years, I've been making this all about me. Like, oh, I'm still grieving that my parents, like, why are my parents here? They don't get to meet my daughters. They don't get to meet my wife. They don't get to
Right.
help my life. My
Yeah.
sisters are probably thinking, I wish my parents were here, help me with my life and help me with my marriage. And I don't even think about those things.
So, but although you were so young when your dad passed and you consider him your best friend,
Mhm.
he didn't have time to screw up the relationship with you. So he
Right,
was your
exactly.
hero.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So there is nobody ever going to compare with him because your relationship was so pure when
Mhm.
he passed that you have that image. If he will have lasted until this age, you probably will have fought or he will have
Oh,
disappointed you or whatever. And your sisters being older than you, they they probably knew a couple of things that your dad it wasn't so much of a hero to them.
sure,
You know,
sure.
I'm not throwing dirt on your dad. I don't know the
No,
story.
no, of
But what
course.
I'm saying is like your vision of the relationship is different than your sisters and honoring like you don't know that your dad is present in your children's life because you can see it, but that doesn't mean that he's not.
Right. Yes. And 2, as well as, going back on that same thought is my relationship with my mom was, so my mom had passed when I was 26, so that's another 11 years later. Between that 11-year period, my mom and me had a good relationship, then we had a bad relationship, then we had a good relationship, then we had a bad relationship, and then it ended in a bad relationship. So, like you were saying, my dad didn't have enough time for me to, like, not have a bad time with him. Meanwhile, my sister, my one sister, she had a continuous relationship with my mom. So the relationship that it looked like from my mom and my one sister, much different than mine and my mom's relationship, right? So I keep going back to that same thought of, like, everyone's experienced something so different, even if it's the same parent.
And that's why we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to other people when we are grieving, which was that's what I was doing because I see my sister being so devastated. And I'm like, does that mean that I didn't love my mom? Like, and why am I comparing myself to my sister?
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Like, so again, there is no right or wrong way of grieving. So, to our listeners, please don't compare your pain to other people. We all do it differently. And there is not a manual on, oh, you should be sad for this many, you should cry for this many. Like, I, the love that I found for my mom, by knowing that she is not suffering anymore, it was so comforting that, if anything, made my love even deeper.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. No, I
And
think.
let's not judge. Let's not judge ourselves and let's not judge others, right? Because I was judging my sister and, well, why are you so dramatic?
Mhm.
Right? And then it's like, okay, we don't, I learned to not judge, not even my own siblings, right? Because like the people that are closer to us, we are the worst with them, right? Because we feel safer with them, right? Like you're not going to treat your best friend the same way that you're not going to criticize your best friend the same way you will criticize your sister because your sister is not going anywhere.
Right.
Your
Exactly.
best friend,
Yes.
he might walk out, right?
Yes.
Like so, and I was so harsh on my sister, and I was like, okay, she's grieving different, right? The way that my diagnosis affected my family was different for everybody, right? So it's like, oh, and I'm thinking I'm the one with the diagnosis. Yes, but my diagnosis, although I had it in my body, affected the entire dynamic of the family
What
because they
and
were afraid I was going to die, because they were afraid the treatment might not work, whatever.
sure.
So it's your own fears of, that are being projected. But let's stop, let's honor our own way of grieving and let's stop comparing it with, and let's not even compare how I grieve my mom, how I grieve my dad, or in your case, how you grieve your dad, of how you grieve your mom.
Mhm.
L- Two different people.
Right.
So be nice to yourself, right? Give yourself grace
Yeah.
because you were a different age when your mom passed, and you had more disappointments in those 11 years difference with your mom that you were ever going to have with your dad. Your dad is so perfect because he's your best friend at 15. There were a lot of stuff I'm sure you didn't know
I'm
when
sure.
you are 15,
Yeah.
right? Like so, but when you are 26, you see things differently. So your mom, you were holding your mom to different standards that you ever held your dad, simply because you are more mature.
Right.
So you're
Yeah.
expecting more out of her. And especially because she's the only parent that you have. So now you need to compensate for the other one that I don't have. Right. And we don't even realize we are doing this.
Right.
This is all subconscious.
Right. Yeah. It's not
Right.
till later that
So
we realize we're doing it, you know?
exactly. So
Yeah.
even our own way of grieving one parent versus the other, we shouldn't be comparing at all. It's like let's give ourselves grace and in honor the again that we are suffering because we love these people so much.
Right.
Because if you didn't care, you wouldn't be suffering.
That's good stuff.
And we haven't gotten to my dad yet.
Oh, I mean, like that's like a mic drop. I mean, no, that like thank you because that it's such an interesting way to think about it. I feel like, even just for me and from my experience, I'm sure listeners will can relate this to their own experiences, right? But it makes so much I mean, it makes so much sense to me. Um, I I don't think I've ever really heard it like that. I mean, I think like that, like, oh, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I've told other people, oh, you've experienced something with your parents totally different than the way that than your sibling has. I've said those things to people, and their parents are alive. And I've said things like, the way that you might have experienced your childhood with your father is different than the way that your brother experienced it with his father. And so I'm like, why I understand it, but I can't even compare it to my own situation for some odd reason, right? So interesting. So
Well,
no, I think
so the
it's a really good perspective to have.
but the reason why is because I always say when you are in the picture, you cannot see the picture. Have you ever looked at a picture and you're like, who's that person? And
Yes.
you're like, don't you have a mirror? But it's different when you look in the mirror versus when you look at the picture.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
when it comes to you, I mean, it's so easy to see the picture from the outside. But when it comes to you, you are in the picture. So the picture, you cannot see it.
Right.
These are my bumper stickers. That's what we call my bumpers. And your
I'm getting
bumper
it printed
sticker for
out and putting it
today
on
is
my car. Yes. No, I love it. No, seriously, it's really, really good. I really love that. And then yeah, like you had just said, like we haven't even talked about your father yet. So 7 years later, after your mom passed, your dad passed away, and you were 55. What was that like? What was that like? We're just talking about comparing, but what was that loss like compared to losing your mom?
right. So after my mom passed, so 2 years later, I moved back to America, right? Like, so I did my master's, I graduated, I started my internship, and then the pandemic hit. So at the beginning, I'm so old. I survived two pandemics. I survived the AIDS pandemic and I survived COVID. That tells you how old I am. But when the
Nobody do
pandemic
the math on
began,
on her age, please. If anyone's
I,
listening,
no,
don't do the math.
listen, I'm 60 and I'm very proud of being
You
60.
should
So it's
be.
like,
Yes, let's go. That's amazing.
let's go. So, and I'm just getting started. Okay. So, when the pandemic first started, I was planning, my nephew's birthday is at the beginning of May. So I was planning, he was turning 40. So I was planning on going there to visit for his 40th birthday. Ah, I'm glad I didn't because I would have gotten stuck there because it's the beginning of May, right? Like we didn't know anything. So until March, right? Like March was when like, okay, we're gonna be uh, quarantined for 2 weeks, and that extended to be 3 years. But at the beginning, it was just for 2 weeks. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't be planning on going back to Argentina with this. Let's see what happens, right? Because tickets are expensive. So I'm start looking at tickets way in advance. I'm like, no, I'm going to wait it out. Then, so my dad was a very social person. He had a lot of friends. He remarried when he was 73, which it was like a huge deal in my family. Like, why are you getting remarried? And I was like, Dad, do you love her? You want to marry her? Go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
do you care? I'm
Yeah.
thinking, how long is he going to live? Well, he celebrated a 25-year anniversary. He was
Wow.
married longer than me, okay? At
Wow.
73.
Wow.
Like, anyhow, he got remarried at 73. He was traveling a lot. Like he loved the ocean just like I do. So he will go to Cuba. So we have the opposite season
Hmm.
in Argentina. So in June is winter over there. So he will travel to the Caribbean in June. So like, he will be tan in June and blah, blah, blah. And he was living life. So when COVID hit, he was very affected because he couldn't go out, he couldn't hang out with his friends, he couldn't travel. And then he suffered a fall. He fell down. He had like in their home, they had like very steep stairs, and he fell down and hurt his neck.
Mm.
So it was very hard for him to go up and down the stairs. He could walk, but it was very painful. So, needless to say, my dad got into a depression because of COVID, right? And not being able to play cards with his friends or to go to the beach and with his wife and all those things. So he started declining very rapidly. But he was 97. I'm
Wow.
not saying like we should he should die because he's 97. What I'm saying is
Yeah.
he lived a long life.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
so he started declining. And again, my sister, right? Like she was very close to my dad. So it was devastating to her to lose him. And again, I have the same mindset of I mean, he lived 97 years. We need to start making plans, okay? Like to say goodbye.
Yes.
But it was very sad. So he was declining so much. He passed away on Thanksgiving Day of 2020.
Mm.
But we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Argentina. So it was a very, and I was like, my dad had a high work ethic. And I use humor a lot. So this might be disturbing to some people, but it works for me because he passed away on Thanksgiving Day, which means that I didn't have to go to work until the following week. So I was like, could you have died the day before so I can take the day off? He died on the holiday, so I didn't miss work. I didn't miss one day of work.
Unbelievable, Dad. Come on.
Right? Like, and I'm
Selfish.
like, Dad,
Selfish.
like, so I was like, but that again brought me comfort because he was in the hospital. He ended up being hospitalized because of COVID, and nobody could go visit him. So
Yeah.
he died alone when he loved people, and he died alone, right? Like, so I was like, wow, again, like I don't like to see people suffering. And towards the end, like I will FaceTime when he was still at home. I will FaceTime, and he will smile like if I would make a joke about soccer, right? Because like we are big soccer fans in Argentina, but we had different teams. So I will tease him about his team, or he will tease me about mine. And he will kind of like smile because he got the joke, but he wasn't all there. And I was like, this is not my dad. My dad is the one who is like, he will call me after a soccer game and said, we allowed you to win because, I told them like, listen, my daughter is in America, and she will be happy her team wins, right? Like those were the
Yes.
conversations.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
were not having that anymore.
Mm.
And then he ended up being hospitalized and nobody can visit him. So I came to terms with when you move out of the country, like I did, there are certain things that you are not going to experience, like quinceañeras or weddings or children's being born,
Yeah.
like you or a parent passing.
Mhm.
You make decisions. And even if I would have gone to Argentina when he started declining, I still couldn't see him because I had to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then he was hospitalized, so I cannot go to the hospital. And then I had to come back and I had to quarantine for another two. Like I didn't have 2 months in order to drop everything and be there. Not only I didn't have the 2 months, me being there only put me in danger. It's not going to make him better. right? I don't have the magic wand, like, oh, if I go there, he's gonna get better.
Right.
So I made this, I came to terms with like, okay, like I'm not helping if I go there.
What did grief look like for you? What did grief end up looking like for you? Was it different than when it was like with your mom? I mean, this is a little bit different.
Yes,
You got to be with your mom, and then with your dad, you weren't even in the same country.
right. But it was very different. But also, I had the relief, if you would, that it wasn't really my decision to not be there.
Mm,
It was
okay.
all the restrictions because of the pandemic. It's not like I
Sure.
knew he was going to pass and I'm like, well, sorry, I'm not going. There was a lot of restrictions around
Sure.
me not being able to be there.
Yeah.
They kind of like gave me comfort, if you would, that okay, I remember the last time I FaceTime with him and I made a joke about his team losing and he smiled, and that's what I keep in my mind,
Yeah.
his smile, right? Like, cause like my dad, and I have him present because he cheated all the time when we were playing cards or we were playing backgammon. Like he needed to win no matter what. So I don't cheat. And I don't like people when they are cheating because I'm like, if you like to win like the next person,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I will never cheat. Like
Yeah.
we will play cards. Every time my dad dealt, all the big cards will show up. Dad, like, hello, like we will be playing backgammon, and he's like, he will move the wrong chip, and I'm like, excuse me. He's like, oh yeah, I made a mistake. I'm
Yeah.
sure you
Okay.
did, right?
Sure. Yeah. 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 I love
So
them.
I so when I'm playing cards or a board game with my friends, and you know, my friend complains or tries to cheat, and I'm like, okay, Antonio, that's my dad's name, right? Like, so I have him very present
Sure. Yeah.
into everyday things because I'm
Mm,
like, the reason why I don't cheat is because my dad was cheating all the time,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I did get my dad work ethic, which kept me alive in my worst times because when I was very depressed and suicidal, I will get up and go to work.
Mm,
And then I will come back and cry all night. But then tomorrow I get up and I shower and I go to work because I couldn't miss work. And I didn't know where that came from. That came from my dad. He had a high work ethic. So this cheater
yeah.
with games had a high work ethic. And I love the ocean. My dad loved the ocean too. So every time I go to the ocean, I'm like, oh, my dad will love this. Like I celebrated my 60th birthday in Hawaii back in June, and I'm like, oh my God, like my dad would love to be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So again, I'm like, Daddy, let's get in the water,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
will get in the water. So it was different. And again, my sister was devastated. And not to say that my brother wasn't devastated, but again, like he is the man, he is the oldest, like he needs to keep it together. But my sister, she was very close to my dad again, like three different dads, right? She was very close to my dad. And I'm like, so she was 62 when my dad passed. You had your dad for 62 years.
Long
You
time.
had it for 15. You see what I'm saying?
A long time. Yeah.
Like,
You
you
just
know?
wish shake somebody, be like, "Wake up!" Like you had them for so,
Right.
like there's some people who
So,
have them that long.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, but again, I remind myself, you're judging, you don't know. She, so so my entire family was able to see my dad's decline. I didn't. I only saw it through FaceTime,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
but they experienced the everyday decline. I didn't. So again, when I saw my dad gone, literally, like so mentally out of it, I was like, this is not my dad. So I am, um, in that sense, it's like if you, so if I'm in a relationship and it, I don't want to be begging you to love me. Like if you don't love me, I wish you the best. Have a good life, right? Like I don't. No, no, you had to be with me no matter what. So in that sense, when I see you suffering, I want you to stop suffering, whatever that means. So if in this case it means that you go rest in heaven because this is not a life for you. This is not the life that you wanted. Who am I to say I want you to celebrate your 100th birthday if you're not enjoying the last 3 years of your life?
Yeah.
So I I find comfort in knowing that my parents stopped suffering, each in their own way,
Yeah.
right? So it's like when my mom passed, actually, my dad was on a trip to, I think, in Cuba or whatever. So he didn't know my mom had passed until he came back. So by the time that he came back, I went to see him. This is not funny, but it's like I saw him. It was at the end of August, right? So it's like the end of winter over there, right? Like they're going into spring.
Yeah.
This man had a tan, like the Caribbean tan, and I walked in and I said, did it rain every day when you were in Cuba? And he started laughing because I'm like, I'm making a joke of how you look,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
He's like, I'm sorry about your mom. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, I
To
mean,
you, yeah,
she
you were
stopped
like, "It's
suffering,
okay." Right, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
right? Like,
Wow.
so in she suffered so much in relationship to him leaving. So and I'm like, okay, now it's too late to be crying about it. Like, but again, I'm not denying him of like this is the mother of his children who passed. Right. Like so and I think that at a certain age, so he was 10 years older than my mom. So my mom died, so he was 89 when my mom died. So he's like, maybe I'm next. You know what I mean? Like those sales camp, he continued to travel for another many years, like so. But um this comfort that I get of knowing that they are not longer suffering
Mhm.
is again like I don't know if it's a defense mechanism, but it works for me because
Sure.
I'm like, no, you know what? It's like, and even now, when like I'm playing cards with my friends, and then my friend's husband is whining, and I'm like, okay, Antonio. So they start calling each other Antonio when they are whining, and I'm like, that my dad will be celebrating that,
And he's, like, laughing about it, you know?
right? But
Yes.
because it's a good thing.
Right, yes, yeah. Yeah, it's like, how can we turn grief into or, like, how can we turn sadness into happiness? Because I think the biggest thing, right, and I'm sure you hear this all the time is, like, when is it gonna end? Like, when is the grief gonna stop, right? It's grief never goes away, right? Like, we never stop grieving, but we find different ways to grieve.
But why why would you want to stop grieving when that is the measurement of the love that you have for that person?
100%, yeah. I think too, though, as well as I think grief and again, right, like, we think about I like to think about it in stages, because grief at 15 for me looked much different than what it looks like now at 35. Totally different. And it's not something that and I think, listeners will want to hear this, is that it's not something that happens overnight. The way that you
Right.
grieve after the death is going to be totally different than the way that it looks like 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. It's going to look totally different. Like yours is a much different situation, but like now, because your parents were a lot older and you have all these fun memories. And I think for me, I like to think about fun memories. I don't ever even really think about the memory of me at 15 laying on my dad in a coma before he passed away that night. I don't even think about those memories unless I'm talking about it, of course. But like my memories are totally different. They are me and him having a conversation, in the house after school, or me and him going on a road trip in his Corvette. Like these are just totally different memories. And I think, what you like, kind of going back to what you said, is that it's a way that we experience it is totally different. But it takes time, and it comes in stages. And not
And
everyone is
and,
probably
and
going to be at a
also
situation. Not everyone's going to be at a situation where they could just laugh about their dad cheating on their car on playing cards. Not everyone's just going to be able to do that right off the bat. Like those things are going to take time.
absolutely, but also we equate grief with like, oh my God, I'm sad all the time. And that's not necessarily true. The pain in your heart doesn't go away, but the love in your heart doesn't go away either. So
Right? Yes.
simply because I'm saying, like, okay, Antonio, stop cheating, doesn't mean, or Antonio will be proud of you because you're cheating, right? Doesn't mean that I miss my dad any less,
Right. Mm. You're
right?
keeping it alive. You're keeping the memory and the love alive.
But I don't have to be crying
Right.
24/7 in order to, for maybe others and society to acknowledge that I'm grieving,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so, but I didn't have that. So, like, the way that I was judging myself with my mom, like, oh my God, like, did I love my mom? Because I'm not crying 24/7. I didn't have that with my dad. So I think that all the knowledge that I gained through my therapy and through giving myself grace and to, um, like, I think that the best way to honor our loved ones when when somebody passes, right, like, and it's like, oh my God, I had that conversation, or I was mad, or whatever, like, you cannot go back and change that, but the best way to honor the memory of that person is to make the best out of the people who are alive in your life right now, and don't leave that conversation pending, because that means that you learned the lesson with this person and you cannot fix it with this person. But I'll be like, okay, Robert, let's talk, because I don't want to, because nobody, nobody has tomorrow guarantee. I don't care how old you are, how young you are, nobody has tomorrow guaranteed. So we need to live. We need to plan as if we are going to live forever, but we need to live as if we're going to die tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep.
So when I have regret about somebody who died, the best way to honor them and to learn from that experience is to not do that anymore. So if I was procrastinating that conversation and now I have guilt because I didn't have that conversation with my mom, the best thing I can do is start having all those conversations with everybody else.
Yeah.
So I don't have those regrets if this person dies, right? So it's like, I think when my dad, when it came the time to for my dad's passing, again, it was such a relief because he stopped suffering, and he was devastated because nobody from the family could be by his bedside. So it's like, okay, like, what? Let's not extend this. There is no coming out of it, not at 97.
Mm.
So let's stop it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So every time that I'm playing cards or that I am on the beach and I'm going into the ocean, I have my dad with me. So my dad might not be here, but again, he's in here.
Sure. Yeah. Is that
So distance doesn't doesn't matter.
No, that's true. And actually, I wanted to talk about this was, like how we honor, and remember those that have moved on, right? And so I know that you had said that, you like to think of them in your heart. You like to make jokes about your dad with cards. Is that the same thing that you do for both of them? Do you do anything different, or is there like anything in your daily life that like you do that keeps them close?
So not necessarily on a daily life, but what I do is on my mom's birthday, my way of honoring her is she had a green thumb. Like I look at a plant and I kill the plant just by
Yeah,
looking at it. But
same.
like she will get a leaf out of a plant and plant it and she will have like a big plant the next day, right? Like saying she loved flowers. So after she passed, I will buy flowers and give it to somebody in her honor.
Mm, okay.
So on her birthday, for example, right? Because I will
Sure.
send flowers on her birthday.
Yeah.
So this d- uh one time I'm sure that I traumatized that poor lady. Um I I bought flowers and I followed this lady out of the store and she was carrying um like soil and plants and and I approached her. And that one would say, like, I'm sure that, and I said, ma'am, I'm so sorry to bother you. Would you please take these flowers? They are to honor my mom. Today is her birthday and she passed away. Like, the lady was like this, and she's like, oh my God. And she gave me a hug and we were crying. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, I do that to honor her. I learned that maybe I should give the flowers to my best friend instead of at a stranger, right? And traumatize her. But I said, and the reason why I picked you is because I see that you have soil and plants, and my mom had a green thumb. So and she was like, oh God, this is so sweet, right? Like, so we went on our ways. So I encourage people to for the important days, the birthdays or the anniversaries, or to um like go to the restaurant or go to the bar and have a beer in their honor. It could be the same beer that you had yesterday, but it's the intention behind that beer that is different. So it's to honor this person,
Yeah.
right? Or go to the restaurant and order their favorite dish, and it's like, it's, oh, because they will be enjoying this so much. So you are enjoying it for and with them because they are here, right?
Yeah.
Or if you are into the environment, you're going to hate me for this. But another thing that I tell my clients to do is to buy a balloon and write a message on the balloon and send the balloon to heaven. Now, apparently, you shouldn't do that because the balloons get trapped into lines and cables and whatever. But
Maybe
I'm
go to an
like,
open field and do this if you're gonna do it.
but it, for a child, for example, right?
Yeah.
When we are celebrating, there are balloons. So a balloon is something that represents happiness. So when I'm writing a message so that my loved one can get it in heaven, there is no sadness in that
Yeah.
honoring,
Yeah.
right? Like, so I seem to think of what the person like in like my mom's case, she loved plants and flowers. In my dad case, he was Arabic, he was born in Syria, he went to Argentina when he was 18. So he loved Arabic food. So I will go to the Arabic restaurant or I start learning belly dancing at a later age in life, and I will perform for my dad, right? But every time that I'm playing cards and I say his name, I'm honoring him, right? Like, so I think that eventually we move away from the pain. The pain is so overwhelming at the beginning, but then it's okay. It doesn't go away, but it becomes more manageable. And then I can start remembering the fun conversations or the card games or the soccer conversations. And then start remembering and incorporating those into the memory. And then, like, say, when I'm buying these flowers, are to honor you.
Sure. They're like
So
these
it
small
could be,
things.
again, it could be the same flowers that you bought yesterday, but these ones are to honor you.
Yeah, it's the intention behind it, right?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. It's the intention. And in to remind everybody that grief is like a roller coaster. One day you're okay, and then the next day you're not. And it's okay. That's how life is. We don't have like you said, I love it. Like, I'm gonna steal it. The 75 and sunny. That's what life is. It's not 75 and sunny every day. So what are you expecting that okay, I cried for 30 days. I shouldn't cry anymore. No, no, no. That doesn't mean that I don't cry. Like I might uh open a book and find like I open a journal the other day and I found a picture of my dad with his wife in Cuba. I was like, oh my god. I mean, I didn't cry, but it was like an emotion. Like I feel so emotional about it because I had forgotten about that picture.
Yeah.
Right? Like so I was like, oh my god, and he looked so happy. Right? So and I was like, this is my dad.
Right. That's how you
Not the
remember.
one that was declining in you know? So to start like kind of like having more of the good memories if you would, rather than only the suffering and the coma and the conversations that you couldn't have. And although I personally don't like to do this, I know that journaling is so healing. So when you are having these feelings, write that letter,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my god, I miss you so much. Why did you leave me? Why whatever. But then after you put that on the paper, I will invite you to change the question. Instead of why did my dad die, to change it to what did I learn from this.
Mm.
Because even if you know the answer to why, it's not going to make you feel better.
Sure.
I always say we're either happy or we are learning something. So if you use this event and what did I learn from this? So it could be that I don't leave unresolved situations, and I do have those hard conversations, and I tell you I love you as many times I am able to. So there are so if I don't see you again, I'm not going to have the regrets that I had with
Right.
that person who passed.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So instead of asking, like, why did she die? What did I learn from this? I learned a lot out of my parents passing. And that doesn't take away from the pain or the love, but it makes my life more productive,
Yeah.
right? And more meaningful. So if I can be there, I had a client not too long ago, his mom, he was the caretaker for his mom and she had passed away. And I said, you're going to find yourself not knowing what to do with your time because you don't have to rush home to take care of her.
Right.
So
Yeah.
let's plan for what are you going to do when those times hit, because right, like, so but I invited him. It was his mom's birthday coming up, and I invite him to honor her however he felt appropriate. And he was like, oh my god, like, this is so awesome. And I'm like, and that's why I have used into having experienced the pain of losing my parents,
Mhm.
because then I can be there
Sure.
for my clients who are
Yeah.
going through something similar,
Wow.
right? Like, so when I found your podcast and I'm like, yes, I want to be there because I have a lot to say. Clearly, I haven't stopped talking. But it's like I want people to know that it's okay,
Mhm.
and you don't need to die with that person. The last thing that your loved one will want for you is that you don't remarry it or that you are miserable the rest of your life. That's not what your dad would have wanted for you. That you stop living at 15. So for you to have grown into the man that you are and to have found your wife and to have children and to live your life to the best of your ability, That's what your dad is proud of, rather than you stuck at 15 and being miserable the rest of your life for
Yeah.
however
Yeah. Yeah.
y-
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah.
if you got a, I'm knocking on wood, if you pass, would you want your wife to like put her life on hold and don't ever smile again?
Mm.
No, you want her to be
Happy.
eventually to be
Yeah.
happy, to find someone else to, because if she is happy, she's going to be a better mom to your children. So if we don't want that for our loved ones, why would I think that my parents would want that for me
Yeah.
when they pass?
Right.
And that's why what one of the things that I was trying to tell my sister, I'm like, dad will not want you to be devastated. He wants you to be happy that you had him for 62 years. Her own had, well, at the time he passed was her ex-husband, but her own children didn't have their dad for as long as she did.
Mm.
So I'm like, you see your children, they didn't have their dad for 62 years. So if anything, find comfort in that,
Sure.
right? But
Yeah.
again, it's her own
Mm.
process. Sorry, like I can say it until I'm blue in the face, but until it makes sense for you, it really doesn't matter. But listening to these different perspectives and taking what resonates with you,
Sure. Yeah.
and really like start picturing what would it be like if I show my dad, like, look what I'm teaching my daughter, or look what I'm teaching my son, which is like, you will be so proud of me for
Yeah.
doing this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's how you make your dad present
Mhm.
for your children.
Yeah.
So
Wow. And speaking of that too, I'd love to know, you said that we talked about parents feel like your parents would be proud, your parents are proud of this, your parents would be proud of that. What do you think your parents would be most proud of for you right now?
that I'm a good person, because I try to do good. That doesn't mean that I'm always successful, but I try to do good as much as I can. And besides the accomplishments and, being a therapist and all those things, I'm a good person.
Mm, I love that because everything else could just wash away, right? Like everything is temporary, right? Like your accolades, your certifications, your job, like those things can wash away, right? But the way that our parents feel about us, I feel like those things last forever.
So I had values, I had a good work ethic. I keep it real, right? Like I am authentic. And that is something that you either have it or you don't.
Sure,
And
100%.
and that's what I mean by being a good person is I'm so authentic that it's like the way that I'm, well, I was gonna say the way I'm talking to you is the way that I talk to my clients. No, I'm keeping it clean for the show. I don't talk like this with my clients,
She is the
but
swearing
I,
therapist. Yes.
I'm the swearing therapist. But swearing is my way of keeping it real.
Yeah. Yeah.
But but by honoring you and your show and your audience, I am by keeping it clean, because I'm honoring you and your audience, I'm being authentic too.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So that's what makes me a good, that's what I mean by a good person.
No, I love.
So, and I'm proud of my values. So I think that they did a good job.
Yeah. No, I love that. No, I really do love that. And yeah, I like to ask everybody when they come on is like, what do you think your parents would be proud of now? Yeah, like for me, I like to think, oh, what would my parents be proud of? Is it, because I like to think about what my parents would not be proud of me for. Do you
That's
know what
a
I mean?
good start, right?
You know, like I'm, and to being completely real about it is like, I was married before and had a divorce when I was young, and I like to think, oh, my parents would be disappointed that I was married and was divorced before I got remarried. But I think maybe my parents would maybe be proud that they would be proud now of, well, I found the one that I love and I have beautiful children who I love. Maybe they'd be proud. Maybe they would be proud of that, right? Or maybe they'd be proud to see how I am, what kind of husband I am, or what kind of a father I am, right? So it's very interesting, and you said too, and I want to touch on this too, Zola, because I think this was a good one. It was like you had said that nobody is guaranteed tomorrow, and I had said this on a couple episodes ago of like, man, I could get out of this interview right now. I could go get hit by a car, like I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. And you had mentioned that, right? How is that? How does that change the way you live?
Because I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow, I'm living this day to the fullest.
Mm,
So knowing that you might not be here tomorrow could mean that, oh my God, you are desperate because you're not going to be here tomorrow. Or it could mean that, oh, okay, let me take advantage of today because I am here, right? Like this is so cliche, but this moment is called the present because it's a gift. The only moment that we have is right now. You don't even have to leave your house and get hit by a bus. You can have a heart
well, that's
attack
because you don't
and
crash
not
into
be
my
here.
house.
Right? Right.
Yes,
So, but I want to mention something. Shame on you for being so young. So I can be your mother, okay? So if I was your mother, I'll be proud of you for realizing that your first marriage was not the right relationship for you. And not only you made yourself available to find your wife now, but also you let your first partner free so that she can be happy. So I'll be proud of you for making the hard decision of recognizing that this is not working out. To me, failure will be that you remain in that marriage and you both are miserable.
sure. No,
That will
that's
be failure,
what a great way.
not that you divorce.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like the fact that you, at the time that you got married, you thought that that was the best decision. And then when reality was proving you differently, you make a different decision. I will be proud of you for that. Because not only you deserve to be happy, but also she deserves to be happy.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And I guess I never really thought about it like that. I always think of like, oh, they would be so disappointed that I did this and I did that, or I wasn't this, or I wasn't that.
Well, yes. So I think that they could feel disappointed that you were not happy.
Mm,
But at the same time, the fact that you didn't remain unhappy and you did what you needed to do, which I'm sure that was very hard. But in order to free yourself, because you would have never found your wife if you were not free,
very true.
right?
Yes.
So you are liberating yourself, but also you are making your partner free too. So if you are not, I want you to be happy. Like with my clients, I want you to get better. It doesn't need to be with me.
Sure.
I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So I'll give you referrals.
Yeah.
I want you to be happy. So I think the best act of love that you did for your ex-wife was to divorce her.
Mm,
Although it might have not felt like that at the time,
sure.
if you will have remained in that loveless marriage, not only you make yourself miserable, which is
Yeah, it's
self-punishment,
miserable. Yeah.
right? Self-sabotage, but also you are making her miserable.
Yeah. Yep.
So thank you for showing me that you were not the right one for me, because otherwise I would have never created the family that I have right now.
Yeah.
But that took courage. So as a mom, and again, I don't have children, but as a mom, I think I would be disappointed that you were not happy. And at the same time, I will be so proud of you for not remaining in that stage of being unhappy and realizing that you deserve it. Like my dad got remarried at 73.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, oh, I got remarried. Who cares? Like, are
Yeah.
you happy?
Right.
Right? Like, so what do you think your parents will be proud of you right now?
Me personally,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Becca asked me this on the last episode, and it was I'm trying to remember what I had said. I think my parents would be proud of and I don't know. I like to think like maybe my successes. It's like that stuff is so like that's like nothing. I think that they would be proud of uh my happiness, like what you were saying, because you know I've talked about this on the show, and people that know me, that do know me, they know that like I love to make people laugh. Like that's my favorite thing is like, and I don't know if it comes from going through so much loss in life, but like I always like to turn, uh, you know, awkward conversations or I love to just like turn them and make them happy, right? Like, because I genuinely just want people to be happy. And I love to make people happy. And so I think maybe my parents would be proud of that. That I genuinely just want people to be happy. And that I like to think that I like to play a role in that sometimes by, if I make a joke or something. But I don't know. They're probably terrible jokes, but at least they made somebody laugh. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's what I would think that they would be proud of.
What are you proud of yourself for?
I'm pretty proud of the fact that I'm doing this podcast. Because you know, I never probably dealt with my grief the way that I needed to. I did, I my listeners will know this from other episodes, but I did do talk therapy, and I did that for about 3 years, but I didn't do that until like 2020. So I went, 15 years, 10, 15 years without doing therapy and just living with grief and being upset and disappointed in my life that I didn't have parents and that I had to learn everything on my own. I mean, literally, I learned everything on my own. Like my my wife will laugh at me, but I told her the story that there was a point in my life where I was like, how old was I? Maybe like 18. So I've been on my own since I was like 16, and I had gotten like a bunch of car tickets, like not speeding tickets, like, oh, I had a loud muffler, or I didn't get my inspection done, like just stupid stuff. And I didn't know that I had to pay those tickets. I didn't know I had to pay the tickets. And because like no one told me that I had to. I mean I drove with the car with no insurance. They suspended my license because I didn't pay my car tickets. But I just kept driving because I didn't know that I had to do that. And so I like to think, oh, I didn't know any better. And I blame that on not having parents. But now, fast forward, I would like to think that I'm most proud of is that I can look back at this project, and I don't care how long it lasts. I wouldn't even care if it lasted next month, right? That's not the purpose of it. The purpose was that I wanted to come out and show other people who have lost their parents that they could sit down and have a conversation about their life and about losing their parents, and we can just have an honest conversation of, hey, this is what it was like for me. What was it like for you? Have on therapists like yourself, Zulma, who talk about, hey, I've also gone through it, and this is what I do, and this is what I do with my clients. So I'm probably most proud of getting on here and just talking about myself and the things that I've gone through. I was just telling my wife yesterday, I said, I would never have thought that I would be putting myself all over YouTube. With like, I just never thought I would do that. Like, that I would just create a YouTube account and start posting videos and start talking about my dead parents. Never would I ever thought I would do that.
So you see how you transform the pain into service for others.
Yes. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. So I think that your parents are going to be proud of that too. That's why I asked the question, because it was so hard for you to identify what they will be proud. I think that what we are proud of ourselves for, I think that our parents will be proud. If it's a good thing, right? Like if you're proud of like driving around with no insurance, like that's not something to be proud of. But
Definitely not.
you
No,
know,
definitely not.
it's like, but how did you supposed to know if nobody told you that, right?
Yeah, I always like to think I would think now that like what a stupid thing that you didn't know that you had to pay your tickets or you had to like get
But it
insurance.
wasn't, but it wasn't stupid. It was you didn't know. But now if you learn the lesson and then you continue to not do it, like, well,
Yes.
okay, you didn't learn the lesson,
Right.
but it wasn't stupid. It was out of ignorance, like nobody told you. Right? Like I saw a video on Instagram not too long ago. I was laughing so much. It was a guy and he said the things I didn't know. And apparently he had moved. I'm sure that it was like a funny video, but he's like, I didn't know I had to buy laundry detergent. It was always present in my house. I
Yeah.
didn't know I had to buy an sponge, right? Like I didn't know I had to, and I'm like, how do you supposed to know when those things are readily available?
And no one tells you.
Right? The things that nobody tells you,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
so, and it could be that nobody was there for you to guide you if you were on your own at 16, and look at everything that you have accomplished, right? Like, so it's like, well, one of the things that you might have learned is that your children will have that guidance because you didn't have it,
Right. Yeah. 100%.
right? So your
Yeah.
children are never going to drive with no insurance
I hope not.
because they have you
Yeah.
to tell them, to teach them, right? Like, so I think that when we go through so much in life, it's like it's about making it the best for everyone else because we don't want them to suffer like we suffer. That's something that Robin Williams will say, like he was so happy of making other people laugh because he was so depressed,
Sure. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm like, I don't like, I'm showing myself authentically because I think that that gives you permission to do the same.
Mhm.
So I'm not telling you like, no, Robert, you need to be authentic. Now, you be you, but know that with me, I'm bringing authenticity into my office
Right.
so that you can be fully yourself without shame and without judgment.
Mhm.
So that how can I expect you, my client, not you right now, but my client, how can I expect my client to bring themselves into my office if I don't show up as myself? So in my um, um, consultation call to see what a good fit, the F word is going to come out of my mouth. The B word is going to come out of my mouth. If you have a problem with that, I'm not the therapist for you.
Right.
I will give you referrals,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, but again, like you had the courage to make this phone call. I want you to get better. So I'm not going to be like, oh, well, no, if it's not with me, like, no, thank God that there are all kind of therapists. Do
Mhm.
you want a female or do you want a male? Do you want somebody? You tell me what you want.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you're going to have everything that you want, but I'm going to do my best to connect you with someone who, if you want a male, okay, I'll give you a male. Like,
Sure.
I want you to connect. 90% of the success of the therapeutic alliance is a relationship. If we don't click, you're not going to open up.
Right. And then
It
you're not
doesn't matter how good of a therapist I am. If I'm not, if we don't connect, and do I connect with everybody? Hell to the no, I don't. And it's fine. I still sleep at night.
yeah.
And I encourage everybody who's listening, if you're looking for a therapist, you're interviewing the therapist as much as the therapist is interviewing you. So don't cut everybody out just because, but if after a 2 or 3 sessions you still don't feel that you can open up, you're wasting your time and your money.
Yeah.
This is your time that you're never going to get it back. So it's like, like I always say we therapists don't have feelings. Like you need to do what is best for you. So don't worry about my feelings.
Yeah.
I rather you come to me and say like, hey, like I'm not feeling it, and I'll gladly give you refer. My who I am as a person and as a therapist doesn't depend on Robert being my client. And it's not because I don't appreciate Robert, it's because I cannot have my confidence come from you.
Mm.
Because then if you don't show up, there is no more Zulma.
Yeah. Right.
And why would anybody give their power away like that? So I want Robert to be happy and find the right therapist. And that doesn't make me any less of a therapist because Robert picked someone else.
Yeah.
With a doctor, it's different because you see the doctor maybe for like 5 minutes flat. So if you don't like the bedside manners, like, okay. But with a therapist,
It's much.
you are with me for 45 to 50 minutes,
Yeah.
hopefully every week.
Yeah.
What are we doing? I want you to get better. It doesn't have to be with me.
I love that though. Yeah. No, I love the honesty. Just keeping it real, Zulma. I love love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, is a way to do it. Like I think that with my cancer diagnosis, I was a people pleaser. I'm a recovered people pleaser. And with my cancer diagnosis, I was like, no, you need to be yourself and you're going to find your people. So like not being authentic takes so much energy. I don't even know how to do it. Like,
I don't think I'd wanna know how to do it at this point in my life.
right. It's like, it's just like I'm exhausted. Like if I'm like, which I thank God I don't have to do very often. When I do that, I'm like, oh my God, I need to take a nap because he takes all the energy out of me. Like,
Yeah, no, it's a lot.
like
It's a lot.
it's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah, yeah. No, I love that. I would love to know though, for listeners, for anybody, who's lost a parent and they feel like they're stuck in grief, maybe they've just lost a parent or maybe they've lost a parent, I don't know, 10 years ago. What would be the one thing or at least the first thing you'd want them to hear?
As I said before, the grief is love that has nowhere to go. So you stop judging yourself for not getting over it. Right? There is nothing to get over. And also I want them to know that you don't have to do it alone. I mean, you did it alone for so long, but you don't have to.
Mhm.
You can, clearly you did it, but you don't have to. In grief groups are so important, especially if they are like for a similar situation, like if you lost a parent or if you lost a child or if you lost somebody to suicide or whatever the circumstances may be. It's like that bond is so important because nobody is going to understand you better than someone else who has been in a similar situation. So there is grief is love that has nowhere to go. There is nothing to get over, and find your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. You can, but you don't have to.
Okay. So we're gonna find our tribe. Grief is, love that has nowhere to go. So we're gonna find somewhere in our hearts to put that grief. And you don't have to. There's nothing to get over. So that's what we want people to know from this.
And if you don't know where to put that love that has nowhere to go, give it to yourself.
Mm.
All this love you have for your mom, give it to yourself because you need it right now. You need it more than anybody. So you give it to yourself.
Mm, I love it. I love that. I love that. Well, Zulma, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story with me. You know, I tell people because a lot of people don't understand it, but losing both your parents, even one of your parents, is something that I feel like you could never prepare for that. But I would say like your willingness to talk about it, the resilience that you have, and I would say like have found the way that you found a way to honor your parents, like what a gift that is. And it's something that will definitely sit with me because um my dad's uh and like death anniversary comes and goes every year. And I just kind of like treat it like another day. But I'm looking at it now of like next year, because it's already come and gone. I want to like find a way to honor him, like in a way that like
Good.
way that he would want it honored. So that definitely sticks with me. So, and if anyone's listening and you've lost a parent or both parents, I really hope that Zulma's story like reminds you that grief is heavy, but it doesn't mean you're broken. Uh you don't have to get over anything. There's nothing to get over. There's no right way to do it. But there's ways to carry it. There's way to honor it and honor those that we've lost. And there's still a life that we can keep moving towards. So I really appreciate you coming on, Zulma, and talking and sharing. And I think people are really gonna appreciate that as well. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been such an honor. It's been so fun.
It's been
See, we didn't need to cry about it.
No, and I think we'll have to have Zulma on again because we talked about this pre-roll. We talked about this pre-roll, but
Yes.
Zulma's been telling me she's moving to Panama. So like, I was like, hey, listen, me and my family, we need a tropical vacation. I think we'll have to come visit Zulma down in Panama.
Yes. Yes. I would love for
If
you
we
and your
do
family to
another
visit.
episode, we'll try to do an in-person in Panama. So thank you, Zulma. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.